Imagine a peaceful suburban street where the unthinkable occurs. Brittany Loritts, an 18-year-old with great promise, is discovered in her own house under circumstances that cause shockwaves throughout the neighborhood. Her story takes terrifying turns and leaves a complex web of mysteries, along with incomplete truths in its wake. Justice is sought, but the whole story is still unclear and attracts interest from all directions. Her legacy provides an unsettling reminder of the difficulties of life, distinguished by both the brightness of her youth and the sadness of her demise. This is based on a true story.
In the quiet town of Salisbury, North Carolina, a seemingly ordinary home concealed a dark and tragic secret. Brittany Loritts was a bright and ambitious 18-year-old whose life was cut short in a way that shocked and saddened her community. In the fall of 2005, she was supposed to leave for college, but in July 2005, Reginald Weeks, Brittany's stepfather, found her dead in her bedroom. The home had apparently been ransacked, and she appeared to have been sexually assaulted and murdered. During a 911 call to authorities, Weeks could be heard sobbing over the death of his stepdaughter in the background.
911, what's your emergency? Hello, 911, what's your emergency?
Brittany's lifeless body was discovered in her home. The cause, a brutal assault and murder. The suspect, possibly someone she should have been able to trust or a complete stranger. On May 7, 1987, Brittany Loritts was born in Forsyth County, the daughter of Roderick Loritts and Angela Vontina Weeks. She attended North Rowan High School in May 2005. After graduating from North Rowan High School in Salisbury, North Carolina, where she was raised, Brittany got a summer job. Loritts wanted to become a teacher, so she intended to enroll in Rowan Cabarrus Community College in the fall, and then transfer to North Carolina A&T State University to get her teaching degree. As a high school track athlete, Loritts aspired to join a college team. She worked as a volunteer for the American Red Cross and participated actively in the Rowan County Youth Choir and Junior Ushers Board at Henderson Grove Baptist Church. Everything in her life appeared to be perfect for a young lady her age. She was also dating a Livingston College student. Weeks, 46, reported to the police that he and his father had swung by the residence to pick up some paperwork he needed for work when he discovered Loritts bleeding on her bed. He said he screamed and held her, but according to some news reports, his father, Reginald Weeks Sr., made the 911 call. However, it was said that a female's voice could be heard, leaving some unanswered questions. Who could have caused such despair in the close-knit community? During the initial search, police were unable to uncover a weapon. Various items were seized by the investigators in the Brittany's bedroom, along with hair, fingerprints, and blood. Reginald Weeks and his wife Angela were interviewed by Salisbury Police Detective J.D. Barber and Holmes less than 24 hours after their daughter's death. There were no overt indications of sexual assault, and Loritts' crime did not seem to have a sexual motive. She was fully clothed in a pajama top and pants with underwear on. Holmes initially believed the incident to be a robbery gone bad, until he realized nothing seems to have been taken from the house.
Investigators revisit the robbery gone wrong theory. Perhaps a neighbor might have caught a glimpse of something suspicious.
Well, anytime we have a homicide such as this, we always do a neighborhood canvass of the area to see if anyone had saw something unusual going on through the day that could lead us to maybe who had done this to Brittany Loritts.
And at first, the canvass turns up a promising lead.
There were some neighbors who told us that they saw a man running in between houses.
Promising, except for the fact that no one got a good look at this stranger. And if this was a home invasion gone wrong, maybe investigators are barking up the wrong tree.
We didn't know what happened. It could have been a family member. It could have been a random situation. It could have been a friend. We just didn't know.
Around 4 p.m., Angela Weeks arrived home after working 8 hours. The detectives took notice to Reginald Weeks' thorough description he provided. Weeks reported that he arrived at a Bourbon Street construction site directly after leaving his house at around 7 in the morning. He then took a car to another job location on Pinewood Avenue, where he fixed sheetrock in a bathroom. Weeks visited a mechanic shop after that and conducted one last errand. At first, Reginald Weeks worked with the police and offered to undergo a polygraph, and to detectives his alibi appeared credible. They moved on to Brittany's father, Roderick Loritts, only to find out that he was out of town when the murder occurred. As the case moves on, the autopsy revealed that Loritts had been fatally stabbed in the neck and had been strangled with a coat hanger, rendering her unconscious. There were no defensive wounds on Loritts, and neither her body nor the crime scene had any signs of seminal fluid. She had a genital abrasion, but the medical examiner speculated that it might have been caused by consensual sex. This led to the police questioning her boyfriend, who was genuinely hurt by Brittany's death. The boyfriend, Terry, participated right away when they interviewed him. Police found out that he had been seeing Brittany for a few months. Terry also told detectives that the victim's family went on vacation, and he hadn't seen his girlfriend in 2 weeks. The young man's alibi checked out, and he was cleared of any wrongdoing. However, detectives continued to investigate the angle of a past boyfriend or lover and came across this.
Investigators aren't quite ready to give up on the idea that one of Brittany's old flames might also be her killer. Especially when about 2 weeks in, police learned some troubling information from Brittany's mother.
While speaking with Tina Weeks, we learned of an abortion that Brittany Loritts had some 5 years prior to her death.
When pressed further, Brittany's mother shuts down. It's obviously an emotional topic.
We asked Tina if she knew who the father was. She said no.
Tina's not talking. But the town gossips have plenty to say. According to the rumor mill, it might have been Brittany's old boyfriend, a local troublemaker named Jerome Buckler.
We had received information of an old boyfriend that Brittany had some dealings with several years ago, an older boyfriend who had a little bit of a criminal history at the time, not the best of character in the world.
Turns out, Brittany's family wasn't all that fond of Buckler either.
Reggie did tell us that he'd really had some problems out of the older boyfriend some years ago. He thought maybe that was the direction we need to go because he had seen this guy walking up and down the road recently.
He has his criminal record. It's just prudent that we speak to him as soon as possible.
But when police question him, Jerome's tough guy persona begins to crumble.
He was upset. He cried.
He wasn't nervous like he was involved in this crime.
Jerome's emotions seem genuine. To be sure, police ask him to prove it.
He was willing to take a polygraph. We also asked if he would consent to hair samples and perhaps blood samples, which he did voluntarily.
Looks like Jerome Buckler won't be adding a murder charge to his rap sheet. All of Brittany's old flames are quickly eliminated. And her quiet social life doesn't offer much insight to detectives either.
It was stated by some that Reginald Weeks tried to run a tight household, and since Brittany had a quiet social life, free from hanging around troublemakers, the cops focused on the mother and stepfather. Why was Angela Weeks so quiet about who could have possibly been the father of her daughter's aborted child? They viewed TV footage from that day only to discover that Reginald's story wasn't adding up. The stepfather claimed when he found Brittany, who was bloody from her injuries, he cradled the teenager in his arms. But there wasn't a drop of blood on his clothes. Why would he make up such a thing? Investigators retraced Reginald's steps to find out that shortly after he left for work, neighbors reported seeing him turn around to go back home. A witness also saw the stepdad around lunchtime and thought he looked very upset. When detectives questioned Weeks, he said the reason he went back home was to pick up some proposals, but they found out there was no record of Reginald contacting a customer named Amanda, or even if she even existed. At this point, detectives were sure Weeks killed Brittany. It also didn't help that Brittany's half-sister, Asti Loritts, said that her big sister couldn't stand Reginald Weeks because he was so controlling. In an interview for Nightmare Next Door, Brittany's father, Roderick, recalls the bizarre chat he had with Reginald Weeks that was out of the blue on the day his daughter was murdered. Weeks told Roderick that Brittany had passed away peacefully. As secrets continued to come out, Brittany told her friends that her stepdad sexually assaulted her and that she was afraid of him. But then she quickly told her friends that she was joking to keep them from going to the police. Upon examining Loritts' body, investigators noticed that there was no evidence of a struggle, no defense wound, and no DNA at the crime scene. They questioned if the murderer had also staged the sexual attack. Holmes stated that the abrasions on Brittany's genitals was not from a man's penis, but rather from blunt force trauma with an item. The police were unsure if the murder was a planned killing or the result of an argument that went too far. Regardless to what they thought, it seemed clear that Brittany's relationship with her stepfather was unhealthy.
Brittany couldn't go anywhere. She couldn't do anything. She never really got to live her life as a teenager.
Reginald Weeks' father also hired a lawyer, saying he had already told the police everything he knew and that the cops were still pestering him at his construction company. After obtaining a search warrant on August 12, 2005, detectives detained Weeks and accused him of first-degree murder. Weeks was supported throughout by Brittany's mother. Coincidentally enough, it had been said that Angela was married to Reginald for 5 years at the time, which is when Brittany had her abortion. Officials think that on the morning of Brittany's death, she got into a furious fight with her stepfather, after which Weeks lost her cool. He tackled her and threw her into the bed. Afterwards, he tried to use the coat hanger to strangle her in an attempt to exert control. However, Weeks performed the task in a rush when Loritts lost consciousness. Following that, he set up the crime scene and struck her genitalia with an item. In an attempt to make the crime appear like a botched robbery, he then looted Loritts' room and the entire house. At a preliminary hearing a few days following Weeks' apprehension, a judge informed Weeks he could face the death penalty. A Superior Court judge raised the bond to $500,000 in February of 2006. Weeks was freed earlier after posting a $350,000 bond. After being rearrested by police on the accusation of sexual assault, he was freed on a $500,000 bond on February 2, 2006. The family was hoping the bond would be denied by the judge. Weeks accepted an offered plea in 2007 to lesser counts of second-degree sexual assault and second-degree murder. In a criminal court, an offered plea, also referred to as a best interest plea, registers a formal admission of guilt toward charges while the defendant simultaneously expresses their innocence toward those same charges. Weeks was given a sentence of roughly 9 years after authorities combined both the assault and murder charges. Only a maximum sentence of 11 years and 8 months could have been served by him. After agreeing to the plea deal, Weeks was placed on probation and freed from prison on January 20, 2015. He was reportedly freed in March 2015. Weeks was detained by police once more for violating his parole a year after he was freed. Despite not being cooperative with the prosecution, Angela Weeks was regarded as a crucial witness, according to the Charlotte Observer. Some questioned did Brittany's mother know more than she let on because she stood by her husband. Family and friends may never get the answers they seek, but maybe they as well as Brittany can have a little peace. Now let's talk about the tragic case of Luevenia Gardner.
Luevenia was married to Henry Taylor, a man who, on the surface, seemed like the perfect partner. They shared moments of joy, laughter, and dreams of a future together. However, their relationship was marked by turbulence that no one saw coming.
Luevenia, I love you so much. I love you just because you make me so happy. I really thank you for being in my life. And you just are so beautiful. And I really cherish and adore you because you are the one that I want in my life forever.
Known for her warm smile and kind heart, Luevenia was a beloved figure in her Chicago community. But behind closed doors, her life was far from perfect. As time passed, the cracks in her marriage began to show. Friends and family started noticing changes, subtle at first but growing more apparent with each passing day. Luevenia, once full of life, seemed to be carrying the weight of an unseen burden. In the privacy of their home, arguments became more frequent and the tension grew palpable. Yet Luevenia held on to hope, believing that things could get better. She confided in a few close friends, expressing her fears and doubts about her marriage. Were the signs there already and she chose to ignore it? Or did Luevenia's husband Henry surprise her by showing what type of person he really is?
I've never told nobody you was perfect because you're not. My thing is, we go through it like everybody else.
On my mama.
You see what I'm saying?
Well, I ain't gonna say we go through everybody else because we really don't.
We don't. Yeah.
Like,
but we're not perfect is what I'm saying.
I ain't perfect.
You know what I'm saying? We're not perfect is what I'm saying. We do go through little, it will literally be months, like 6 months, 5 months.
It be like that?
I'm saying we won't even have an argument for 5 and 6 months. You know what I'm saying?
Shut the up, because I'm the man.
Okay. But like I was saying, we're far from perfect, you know?
Yeah,
but
perfect. I don't never
he is the pervert for me. You know what I'm saying?
The who?
You heard that pervert for me?
The pervert? What?
Pervert for me. He is the perfect person for me because he goofy, he funny, he's caring, he's very protective. Your mama's a goofy. I can still be who I choose to be. You see what I'm saying?
Who is that? A goofy?
Yeah.
A straight goofy?
I haven't really had to too much change anything about myself. No.
When last time we argued?
Before we got married.
In this live with Luevenia and Henry, it seems like Henry had an issue with his wife mentioning someone she knows getting an education. Also, Henry wasn't shy to say he had a short man complex and even spoke about setting a person on fire. Although we haven't heard all of their conversations, it makes you want to ask, is this how they talk to each other all the time? And it seems like Henry was doing some foreshadowing about setting someone on fire. On April 16, 2021, according to reports, Henry sprayed Luevenia with lighter fluid and ignited her with a lighter following an argument. Gardner managed to remove her burning clothes, jumped into a shower to put out the flames. Then she sought help by running to a nearby fire station. A member of the Chicago Fire Department noted that Gardner's skin had melted over her fingernails and that the plastic from her hair extensions had bonded into her skin, according to Assistant State's Attorney James Murphy. Gardner reportedly told firemen she should have left him a long time ago, and that she knew her husband Henry Taylor would attempt to kill her, according to the Chicago Sun-Times. As stated by authorities, Gardner's body had second and third degree burns over 70% of her body. Hours after Henry lit Luevenia on fire, Taylor called Gardner's family to explain what he had done. What she must have felt, we can't even imagine. Luevenia asked the firefighters if she was going to die, but they couldn't answer that question. At the University of Chicago Medical Center, where she had undergone skin graft surgery, Luevenia passed away on May 21, 2021, over a month later after the incident.
You came into my life at a time where I couldn't even possibly imagine my worth. I thank you now because you helped me grow. And although I never forget where I came from, I always remember where I'm going. And that's with you, by my side. Because it's going to always include us standing next to each other and side by side. I vow to continue to inspire you as you have always inspired me. I promise to give you my eternal loyalty and heart, for you are the only man I would ever need. I'll listen to you. I'll nurture you. I'll fight, but I will be true. I will always do my equal share, and I will vow to never give up on you. I'll try my best to fulfill your every need. I walk hand in hand with you, but I will always give you your separate space to grow. I'll tend to you when you're sick. I'll build you up when you low. I stand before our family and friends, and I'm gonna say this from my heart. From this day forward, I'm here. I'm right here, so you don't let go. You're my strength, my joy, my everything. And when you feel like the world is crumbling, look at me, because I'm your rock. I will love you, and I just want to thank you for choosing me. Because he chose me. I love you. Perfect, now don't piss yet, you too.
Henry Taylor turned himself into the police on May 26, 2021 after Luevenia Gardner died from her injuries. In a taped interview, Taylor reiterated his claimed admissions and admitted to the police that he wasn't even that close to his wife Luevenia, and she went up in flames. He was charged with first-degree murder. Henry bragged to his wife about being violent and had a criminal record. Although Luevenia looked past his major flaws, the red flags were still there. Both Luevenia Gardner and Brittany Loritts' stories highlight the devastating impact of violence and the importance of recognizing and acting upon warning signs in relationships. Their tragic deaths serve as somber reminders to prioritize safety and seek help when faced with dangerous situations. If you found these stories important, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel until next time.